I don't have the sound. I just plugged it in. Beautiful.
Hey, Papa. Papa, all run.
Oh, that sucks.
This is a presentation of the United States Australian Football League, the USAFL.
Fullback, okay? Alex C, back pocket, okay?
Hey, boys. All right. Use your voice all day. Use your voice, okay? Swannaroos on three. 1, 2, 3. Swannaroos. Go, boys. 1, 2, 3, 3.
Strong in that quarter was fantastic.
Welcome to the USAFL 2024 Nationals presented by Tasmania, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Coming to you live from the music capital of the world here in Austin, Texas. We are at the Onion Creek Sports Complex where teams across the country have gathered to determine this year's 2024 USAFL champions. And we have a Division I women's matchup here which will decide the grand final later today with everything to play for between the Minnesota Freeze and the Seattle Grizzlies. I'm Patrick Machado, joined alongside by Dan Sarbacker, and why don't you just recap some of the permutations to determine what's at stake 40 minutes from now.
Yeah, fair enough. Try not to turn this into a massive math exercise, but in short, Minnesota goes 2-0 yesterday, so the simplest equation here, they win, they're through to the grand final. For the Seattle ladies, a little bit different scenario, going 1-1 yesterday. They win, and they're in with a little bit of help for certain. The other game will be transpiring right behind us, Pat, with the Denver ladies and the Golden Gate side. But Golden Gate and Seattle both going 1-1 yesterday. Denver going 0-2. There's a few versions of the way this plays out, but teams here in front of us, Freeze control their own destiny. Golden Gate needs to win and needs some help.
As we are just set to go here. Simple answer, win.
Freeze win, they're in. Seattle win and need some help.
Just waiting to get going here. And umpire looks to be ready. As they complete the final checks and they hold the ball aloft as we are set to go. Here from Field 2 at the USAFL 2024 Nationals. And it starts out on the Minnesota end of the field. Ball in dispute on the far side. And umpire calls holding the ball. Minnesota Freeze will get the free. Short kick straight into the arms of a player on the 50. Now delivering inside to a player on the run, comfortably into the midst. And Minnesota will have the first shot on goal in this matchup.
Pat, a little bit of a crosswind slightly favors the Freeze. So the scoring end, as we saw in our last match, is down on the Onion Creek end. So that's the left side of the screen for viewers.
Here's Corey Daling with a kick towards goal. It'll go just right of the behind post and tapped out for a throw-in. So deep inside the forward 50 for Minnesota. Flung back into play. Rucks cancel each other out. Ball drops to the ground. And they'll throw it up again as it's tied up. Point blank range for Minnesota, about 20 meters out from goal. Umpire restarts. Seattle won the tap. And free kick spotted. Minnesota will get the shot.
Second set kick inside 50 for the Freeze here. This one a fair bit closer in and a better angle. We'll see if they can convert on this one.
So Kaya Segula directly in front. Gives it a ride and just drifts off to the left for a minor score. So Minnesota strike the board first with one behind. Seattle Freeze yet to score. That's on the Watch AFL scoreboard 2 minutes into this Division I women's matchup.
One of the Grizzlies having to go find the ball, the Onion Creek end there. That's the creek side of the ground. Fetch the ball out of the tall grass. We're ready for a kick in.
So Seattle with their first foray forward. They start it from deep inside their own defending 50. Goes up the far side wing. Minnesota crumbs away with it. Corey Daling with a shot on goal. That one's high. That one's long. It's straight down the middle. And they follow it up with a major. 1-1-7, this Minnesota Freeze. Seattle Grizzlies yet to score. Watch AFL scoreboard.
Pat, the Freeze intent on keeping that ball in there. I don't think there was ever even an exit from inside 50 on the kick out. Freeze contested that ball in flight, were able to create another chance for themselves by disrupting what the Seattle side was trying to do. Found themselves back in front. Converted.
So all Minnesota here in the opening stages of this first half. Seattle yet to go forward as it's tossed back up into play again. Tapped forward out of the ruck by Seattle. Just looking to gain some territory. Minnesota with the ball, and they'll get the free kick as Segula was infringed upon.
So she pulled up a little tender from that after she's taken her time here.
Yeah, looked a little ginger getting up on that. But she will take the kick, goes long, edge of the square. Well, that's a very nice mark taken. And the offense continues for the Freeze. Off hands, just inside 50. Seattle player handballed it into space. Now it goes towards the goal. And make it 2 straight goals for the Freeze.
Big link up there through Lindsay Eliason. She's that half forward that took that nice grab there. She held her space well. The delivery was great. Took that mark, and then she provided the inside 50 entry for the Freeze there, which converted to a goal.
So now out to 2. Now to 2-1-13. Minnesota leads. Seattle yet to score 5 minutes into this first half. And Minnesota everything but ice cold in this Division I women's matchup. Ball up in the center, recalled by the umpire. Tap straight to Segula. And Minnesota again threatening on the edge of their 50. Handballed out wide by Eliason. Now onto the boundary. And escorted over. And free kick actually going to be given. Minnesota again with possession.
Yeah, Eliason racking up possessions there. A couple of handballs. One of them smothered, but she collected again and ultimately awarded the free kick.
Goes far side pocket. Misses everybody in that pack. Corey Daling with a sharp angle try, and did that find the line first, or was it tapped through? Umpire touch behind. Goal umpire had to consult with the umpire in the center. Looked like she was going to call the goal for a second, but it is touched through by Seattle. A critical late-stage intervention, now out to 2-2-14.
Great diving effort, individual effort there from the Seattle defender to just poke that, touch that through before it went across for a goal. Eliason running hot for the Freeze, though. 2 straightforward 50 entries for her.
The field is tilted. Played on from the boundary. Segola looking for a lane. Her kick drifts off to the left. And just is able to sneak inside the behind post for another minor score. 2-3-15 go the Freeze. Seattle yet to score 7 minutes into this opening half.
28 there, Gretchen Gilbreath for the Seattle Grizzlies. Really critical that she just got a little bit of pressure there. She helped spin the opposition as she was preparing to kick, and that helped steer that ball wide of the major sticks, out for one.
So what can Seattle do this time? Ran out wide, goes back inside. Ball overshoots everybody, and it'll roll gingerly over the line, just in front of us for a throw-in. Back into play. Seattle with the tap down 2 advantage. Immediately wrapped up. They appeal for holding the ball. Umpire says, I'll have it. Not too much in that one. Try it again. Rucks cancel each other out. Good tap by Minnesota to keep it on to advantage. Seattle takes over possession. Gets a kick into space. 2-on-2 as they come to the follow the ball. Fell had her kick blocked. Handball back to Segola. Ball in dispute. Center of the ground. Edge of the center square. Umpire spotted something. They'll play on. Tackled without the ball. Seattle will get the free kick.
Couple of great tackles there. She actually dispossessed her in the tackle, resulted in an illegal disposal or incorrect disposal because she dropped the ball, didn't make contact with the hands during the tackle.
So finally Seattle go forward. Rushed kick goes to the far side boundary. It'll be a push in the back against Minnesota. Or actually they'll call it a throw-in. Looked like a push in the back from our angle.
Seattle player on the ground. I think you see Lauren Newell signaling for the runner straight away, so she knew there's a more serious injury here. So I think we're gonna have a stoppage of time, actually, Pat.
It was an awkward tackle. And she was just trying to dispose of the ball before she was tackled, and
That might be Val.
Gravity is cruel sometimes.
That's Val Barber, 65 there. Good to see her on her feet. Took a bad knock. She's coming off very gingerly. It looks like on a sore left foot, ankle, knee. But she's putting weight on it.
Good to see her walking off under her own power.
So that's a good sign.
Definitely came out worse for wear on that. Obviously hoping the best for her.
I want to watch this ruck contest and this evolving battle over the day. Kata Hewitt, 26 for Seattle's technique has been really good in the first few ruck taps I've watched. Want to see the effectiveness as a result, but quite a few of them have dropped straight down and canceled each other out, as you've mentioned.
So time back on with 9 minutes played here in this opening half. Seattle on their first adventure forward inside their attacking 50. Amelia Carr looking to gain some territory. Players converge on the ball, near side forward pocket. Umpire will call for it. Tightest of angles. Ball thrown back up into play. And we're stuck inside that forward pocket.
Seattle using Rachel Blum, 37, in their forward taps, it looks like.
Just trying to find any way out of that congestion. The Minnesota ruck tapped it to herself. Now stuck on the ground once again, wrapped up. Umpire crosses herself. Halfway through this opening half.
I like what Donlan's done here, the head coach of the Seattle women. Blum taking those forward 50 taps, Allows Hewitt to drift in the middle. We'll see if any clearances come her way. She's a tall target there. If the Freeze try to clear and she's in the way, she might be able to rebound with an intercept.
Ball is loose in amongst the congestion. Finally, Minnesota get a clearing kick away, but it's skyward. Tapped down by Seattle. Picked up by Kayla Hewitt. Little dribbling kick towards the top of the goal square.
Right to Hewitt, as we were talking about. She was well positioned there and able to rebound for Seattle.
Now out towards the arc. 2 Seattle players at the ball. Wrapped up by Minnesota. And it'll be a ball up far side, half forward, just right near the 50-meter arc. Seattle tried to tap it forward to gain some territory, unable to do so, but Minnesota kicks it straight to Kelsey Lang, and they'll look for an entry inside 50. Here it comes, centering ball. Gets to a 2-on-2 right in front of the goals. Strong tackle by Minnesota. Wins the stoppage. 11.5 played in this opening half. Seattle threatening inside their 50 for a long time, but no score. Taken out of the ruck. Throws it on the boot. Minnesota marks on the line. So the Freeze will get an exit. They go near side boundary. Hoha couldn't complete the mark. Set down the line. It'll bounce inside the boundary. Bounce at right angles. Somehow that stayed in. Jessica Haas in pressure. Handballed it to ground. Freeze calling for the ball. Umpire not awarding the free.
That's Eliason again. She's just waiting for some action down in her end. Seattle had pinned the ball forward for quite a while there.
And the pressure amps up. Toss back into play. Ball lost in the tackle. Now inside the forward 50 for Minnesota. Umpire spotted something. Seattle will get the free.
Hewitt critical again, back to taking those ruck taps through the middle of the ground, and she applied that tackle there that disrupted what the Freeze was doing.
Haas sold some candy, now gets a kick into congestion right in front of the commentary position.
One for Freeze. Georgie on the left there, recentering that ball, trying to get back into the corridor.
And now they fight for it. Locked up. And the umpire will throw it up.
She wanted to throw that up. There was a risk she pulled that in and might have gotten pinged for dragging the ball under.
Tap forward by Seattle. Able to get the foot on the ball.
Hewitt, that tall timber again for Seattle, getting that ball moving forward off the ruck tap, but the Freeze up to the task.
Now the Freeze kick back inside. Off hands, rolls to the line. Boundary throw, 13.5 played in this opening half. And it's the Minnesota Freeze way out in front, 2-3-15 Minnesota. Seattle Grizzlies yet to score. That's on the Watch AFL scoreboard.
Good, hard, contested action right in front of us, Pat. Boundary throw right in front of the media booth.
Seattle won the tap. Thrown onto the boot quickly. Little dribbling kick. Seattle appealing to the umpire for a free. It'll just be a ball up as the play is stuck inside the 250-meter arcs. Back and forth we go. And Minnesota with the advantage on the scoreboard. Seattle tapped it, and it just landed inside. They'll throw it in again.
Coach Fisher for the Freeze women making some adjustments here. That's the third ruck he sent up against Hewitt. Hewitt's obviously causing some problems for them, the Seattle ruck is.
So now at least away from the boundary this congested play goes, but it's still pretty locked up. players clash once again. Squirts out loose. Minnesota takes it. Paige Thel just trying to get it quickly. Not 15. And they play on. Brancati with the drive forward for Seattle. Now Seattle's able to get it back inside their attacking 50.
One thing Brancati did extremely well to break that loose is she accelerated out of the pack with pace that created separation, allowed her to get that forward 50 entry.
Looking near side boundary, Minnesota goes once again. Amanda Aitkins down in the congestion. Locked up once again. 4 minutes to go in this opening half. 15-point lead to the Freeze. As a reminder, Minnesota wins. They will play in the Women's Division I Grand Final later today on Coopers Field. Seattle, will need some help if they win, but it's simple for them. Day 2 of this Nationals tournament here in Austin, Texas. Hard tackle by Katia Hewitt. Minnesota is able to get a clear and kick away. Missing the mark was Aitkins. Seattle comes away with it, able to get the handball away before she's tackled. Minnesota through the congested corridor. Now a small kick straight into the arms of a Seattle defender. Seattle looks near side boundary. Uncontested mark taken by Kelsey Lang. Urging her team forward. Has a kick in the corridor. Goes wide to the edge of the 50. Congested kick falls to a Seattle player. And it'll be a free kick for the Grizzlies.
So they'll get another forward 50 entry out of this. We'll see if they can find one of their big targets up there at forward line. 27 for Seattle. Sorry, the wind's blowing my paper. Catherine Oseguera.
Fergula with the high skyward kick. Off the hand of a Freeze player. Great outlet kick. Catherine Hood takes the mark. Very nice corridor play by the Freeze. Lindsay Elisen. Chip kick inside 50. Spoiled from behind by Seattle. Now to ground, the ball goes once again. Seattle just gaining some territory. Paige Thel with her service inside 50. Off the arms of a couple players. Kick to the boundary by Seattle. April Munn just looking to gain some space. And she'll have scored it over the line.
Big thumping kick by Trell out of the midfield lines here. Gets the Freeze definitively into the forward half.
Less than 90 seconds in this opening half. Umpire Spots holding the ball.
Yeah, she took that directly out of the ruck and got wrapped up for it. So that's a turnover. Seattle kick.
So Seattle with a minute to make something happen in this first half.
The commitment's there for Grizzlies at that contest. Georgie picking up the ball for the Freeze, trying to put it on to boot, but smothered by the wall of Grizzlies there.
45 seconds to go, roughly. Again, this is unofficial. Nicole Murley was tackled, and Seattle had the ball. Freeze holding the ball. Umpire ruled that she got it to her boot in time.
Wall of Grizzlies, Pat. That sounds like a National Park Western U.S. nightmare. The defense have been ferocious in the same fashion.
So they'll throw it up just outside the forward 50 for Minnesota. Tap forward by Seattle. Missed the kick. Seattle once again with possession near side. Paige Thel with service inside 50. Needed a mark. Running onto it is Elisen. Elyson looking for a shot on goal. She takes one, and it's straight down the middle. Last second goal for the Minnesota Freeze to put a stamp on this half. And they're out to 3-3, 21. Seattle Grizzlies yet to score. Siren goes on this first half.
Tell you,
And
Pat,
what a crusher for Seattle.
Yeah, they were fighting and clawing back into this game, had some forward pressure, not able to put a bunch on the scoreboard. He kept thinking any minute Seattle will. So yeah, big crushing blow there. 14, I think Trell out of the back again, that big booming kick. And who's on the other end of it? Eliason, as she has been all first half. She turns, sprints to create that separation, then actually steadies herself. That's showing some real maturity and class as a footballer, to steady herself right before that shot on goal and converts it.
20 minutes down, 20 left to go. Minnesota Freeze, 20 minutes away from the Women's Division I Grand Final here at the USAFL 2024 Nationals, presented by Tasmania, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian maiden-owned Cooper's beer, all here in Austin, the live music capital of the world. For Gridiron Productions, we'll be back for the second half in just a few moments.
The USAFL 2024 Nationals is brought to you by Tasmanian, the quiet pursuit of the extraordinary. Cooper's, Australian made and owned. Cooper's beer. Visit Austin, live music capital of the world. Two Hands Hospitality, fueling your lifestyle. Watch AFL, stream every match. Devil's Corner, Tasmania. HBC Event Services, Play Aussie, Premier Sports Medicine, and by the Movember Foundation.
I'm surprised if I
We already have the right to win. We can't have a second win. We already have 2 wins.
Back here for the second half between the Minnesota Freeze and the Seattle Grizzlies. Minnesota is up 3-3-21. Seattle yet to score. Minnesota threatening again. Driving kick towards the goal. And that's another for the Freeze. 4 unanswered.
His dream start for the Freeze there. Fast transition out of the middle. And a quick turn and conversion for goal. That hurts Golden Gate in more ways than one. They really need to win this game, Pat, but I did a quick sprint over at halftime. The other women's Division I game happening behind us here on the other field. Denver led at halftime 1-1-7 to Golden Gate's 0-4-4, but I see Golden Gate with an early goal as well pulls into the lead. So Golden Gate in the driver's seat to get that second position in the grand final with the Freeze women.
5-kick ball game. It was a last-minute kick for the Freeze in the first half. First-minute kick for the Freeze in the second half. 27-point lead for Minnesota.
Seattle here needs to close the gap considerably to reduce the gap in percentage that they would have, and they need that help on the adjacent field. They need the Denver women to pull back in front of Golden Gate to give the Seattle women here a chance.
So they need something from this foray inside attacking 50. Thrown out of the boot by Rachel Blum. Rolling towards the top of the square. Players crashing on the ball. Kicking in danger, the call, and Seattle will get a free kick. This is exactly what they needed, point-blank range.
You said it, Pat. Right out in front, almost no angle to this kick. She should convert this. She's probably only about 15 meters out. Tall target standing on the mark. She's got to execute properly, but this is what Seattle needs to get going.
Rachel Sun to start the comeback here. Goes off the edge of the boot. No score. As they fight for it once again. And the umpire will call for it, and that's a big miss for the Seattle Grizzlies.
Yeah, they needed those points right there, Pat. But they get them in the end.
Crum out of the contest. Seattle winning and dominating the ruck in the first half, unable to convert that into points. Finally, they do, and they hit the scoreboard. They're 1 straight 6, having to claw back that lead, back to a 21-point margin.
In the end, they said, nah, too easy. We'll spray this free kick off the boot. We'll do it the hard way, but they get the 6 being down on this end anyway. Critical for them to get that done. We had a look at first half stats for this. Very, very level up and down the grounds, but Minnesota Freeze doing it when it mattered. The marks that they took, level in the count, but theirs were more effective because of the way they were able to play on, where they took them in the half-forward line, and they resulted in goals.
And Minnesota out of the ruck contest here. They got a clearing kick outside. Overlapping now. Jessica Haas. Smothered by Seattle. Minnesota retains possession. Now it's in dispute on the ground. They crash the pack. And still we play. Dribbles out towards the far side. Out the back, picked up by Ray Hale.
One of the Freeze players getting up slowly there, but she's on her feet finally. Hard tackle. How does Seattle get back into this? Katya Hewitt was critical for them in the first half, and we looked again at those stats. She was winning nearly all the ruck taps. Seattle needs to build their strategy around her and what's working for them. Can they be effective out of the middle when they know she's directing taps in the places they want?
Ball up, far side, edge of the center square. Rolled on back now forward. And that congested ground ball play continues here into this second half.
Donlan's actually switched up his rucks here. He's got 40. That's Natalie Griffin taking the taps right now. They've got a big advantage, it seems, in their rucks. There's some depth in the rucks for Seattle. They've been effective there. They need to build their midfield around that to get the ball moving forward and give them more scoring chances.
And Seattle just needs to break it free.
44, nice tackle there. That's Brown Cotty again. So when they don't take possession, Seattle's done a nice job in the last minute or so here, tying up the freeze, getting another ball-up opportunity.
But that's only going to play into Minnesota's hands. Remember, we only play 2 20-minute halves here at Nationals with no time on, so it's not bleed the clock out time yet, but that's going to add up, especially given the narrative of this game and the narrative of that first half.
Nice mark there on the far side. I think that was Kriegel. Contested mark there on that highly flighted ball. Got the freeze moving forward.
So Haas with a stabbing kick. Minnesota marks. Well done to find the player on the lead. Trying to make out the number.
Is that 9, Kathy Hoa? She was the goal scorer early in the term.
But kicks it straight to Seattle. Taken down from behind. High tackle. And Seattle gets the free kick. 6 minutes into this second half. 14 minutes to go. 21-point margin for the Grizzlies to make up. Far side. Center wing. Jessica Haas takes the mark for the freeze.
They're using that inboard option.
Couldn't complete the mark.
Eliason, of course, that target for them. They're trying to find her on the end of that. She's working hard on the ground and in the air, trying to get the ball moving forward again.
Off the hands on that final kick inside. Crumbs out to Jerry Allen, excuse me. And it's through for a touch behind.
Really good desperation from the Grizzlies side here. They are bending, not breaking. It was just that one quick goal early. Otherwise, they've stemmed the tide. They clawed that goal back. See if they can build out of the back here and get back into their forward half.
Watch AFL scoreboard reads 4-4-28 for the Minnesota Freeze. Seattle are one straight 6. 22-point margin to make up.
I'm not sure that was
about 11 minutes time.
Should be out on the full. No, they did see a small touch there somewhere. So fingertips to that. So for a throw-in.
So a shallow throw-in, pretty high. As they battle for the loose ball once again. Minnesota with the kick inside 50. Falls to ground. Comes out to Haas. Handballs it back. Segula with a kick inside the pocket. Seattle takes it back. And now it's back inside the center of the ground as they go to work once again. Out wide for Seattle, thrown onto the boot. Formanton just tried to get the kick away. The freeze controller in the corridor. Kick to the edge of 50, falls just short.
14-30, Theld Eliason, that is a common combination. Seattle needs to shut that down, what the Freeze are doing there, that big booming kick out of 14th L from the halfback line there. That has been the key link up for them thus far. If the Freeze can shut that down, prevent those possessions for Thel along the Freeze halfback line, I think they've got a good shot at getting forward.
Haas with a kick to the goal line. Minnesota with the mark. That's number 34, Jerry Allen. And she'll have a shot on goal about 20 meters out, 45-degree angle. Actually, a little bit more of a centered angle, not as bad as I originally thought it was. Angles can be deceiving, but that goal is not.
We've seen Eliason jog to the boundary here. I think Coach Fish is determining gonna start resting folks for the grand final this afternoon. This result's starting to get a little beyond the Grizzlies, but actually what really matters is percentage. Grizzlies have to claw back a lot of points here. I'm peeking at the result next door, and it looks like another goal. Yes, another goal next door to the Golden Gate women. So Golden Gate women looking good to go through. Seattle would have to do a lot of work at this point.
It's a 28-point ball game here. Minnesota out to 5-4-34. Seattle Grizzlies one straight 6. And you can see that kind of took a little bit out of the Seattle sails.
Big applause
Minnesota threatens once again.
Big applause for Jerry Allen as she comes to the boundary for a rest. They're obviously going to rest her for the grand final as well. Big mark and goal for her just now to kind of put this game on ice.
Locked up. Far side. Halfway. Minnesota just has to defend really here from here on out. Best defense is offense. They still are threatening. Figure one more goal should pretty much do it. Little soccer forward by Catherine Hoa. Seattle boots it forward into space. Bounces on the inside of the boundary. Stays inside. Now kick forward. Seattle picks it up.
Seattle there avoiding Thel. Thel got dragged underneath that kick, and so the ball flying way overhead, she couldn't rebound or intercept as she's been doing all day.
So Seattle gets the free kick for a dangerous tackle.
And there they do it again, bypassing Thel. The Grizzlies do. They've seen how effective she can be against them in defense. They're trying to avoid her, kick over her head to different targets, even if it's just into open space where they can tie the ball up.
Ball back into play. Far side. Inside 50 for the Seattle Grizzlies. Escorted back, but they maintain possession. Selling some candy. Now sending it back inside. Comfortably into the arms of a Minnesota defender unmarked.
There's Thel again, and so we're going to see that big booming kick come right back Seattle's throat.
Kelsey Lang couldn't keep it down. Here's Anna Brancati centering it. Off hands, Jessica Haas with a clearing kick to far side half forward. Kelsey Lang with a look towards goal. This one looks good. Umpire, 2 finger pistols, and Seattle's got one back.
Nice build-up from Seattle there on the far side. They figured out a little secret there. Bypass Thel. If they can get those kicks over her head, they did that twice. That gets the ball into the forward end. That forward 50 entry, Brancati just insistent on getting the football. She gained possession, was able to share the ball. Lang, nice little handball. Lang absorbed the tackle, was able to get handball back to Brancati, who converted the kick. That was a beautiful sequence.
And so Seattle not dead yet. They're out to 2 straight 12. Minnesota Freeze holding steady at 5-4-34. It's a 22-point ball game with around about 7 minutes to go. So Minnesota's still in the driver's seat, but if Seattle can get one quickly, that narrative could change. Tossed back into play. Minnesota
peeking
is going to
next
get the
door.
clearance here.
Still one straight kick and some change. 10-point difference next door with Golden Gate in the lead. So Seattle praying for the Denver women next door to pull forward, and Seattle's got to kick a few more goals to shorten the distance here.
They're going to have to go the full length of the field. Minnesota just soccerating off the ground, looking for territory. Kick back inboard. Bounces to Connor Lewis of the Freeze. Handball back. Paige Thel had her kick blocked. And it goes over the line for a throw-in.
Seattle Grizzly there applying the tackle, standing up, shaking her wrist. That's 11. Let's see, Brooke Jennings. She's been playing hard chase, hard tackle all day.
Seattle back out of congestion for Gula. Now here's a kick, long kick over everybody's head. Picked up by Connor Lewis of the Freeze. Handball back inside to Paige Thel, and Paige Thel will start forward for the Freeze. Takes a bounce, kicks it forward, finds someone in the corridor. Great passage of play from the Freeze. Just out of the reach to Segula on that final kick. Holding it now. And that will be... Couldn't tell if that's out on the full or if that bounced inside. It will be a boundary throw-in. Actually, no, excuse me. It did go out on the full, so Seattle will bring it out. That left to right breeze really starting to pick up now. With 5 minutes to go in this half. And the game. Seattle with a 22-point margin to make up.
So again, as an update, where scores stand right now, Minnesota would go 3-0, Golden Gate would go 2-1, Seattle 1-2, Denver 0-3. That would put Minnesota and Golden Gate into the grand final this afternoon.
Which will take place on Cooper's Field. All games from Fields 1 and 2 being streamed thanks to our partners with Gridiron Productions.
I think that's a 3 p.m. start, Pat, unless I'm mistaken, for the women's Division I grand final. Beer garden will be full by then, I reckon.
And we're looking at it as a reminder, that's 3 o'clock Central Time.
Good reminder,
for
3
those
o'clock
of you who
Central.
are watching around the country or across in Australia.
Coopers will be cold by then for the beer garden. Hopefully you've got a 6 or a 12 for yourselves at home listening along.
Longtime sponsor of the USAFL, over 25 years the partnership between Australian made and owned Cooper's Beer. And
I got to hang with Michael and Andrew last night. It was great to get to know them a little bit better, and certainly appreciate their partnership over the years, and they sound as excited as ever to continue.
Here comes Minnesota. 4 minutes to play. A little bit less. Remember, this is unofficial. As Minnesota cruising their way into a grand final later today. And umpire spotted something over on the far side. Seattle's going to get the free kick.
Yeah, is that Katya Hewitt? Nope, 13. What do we have here? Amelia Carr with the kick.
So everyone floods inside the 50. Players running short. Falls to Altschwager. Lindsay Steen blocks the ball from going forward. Trying to corral it is Brancotti.
Brancotti brought the extra numbers there to keep that alive.
Probably had a really good uncontested shot if she was able to corral it, but she's unable to do that.
Katya Hewitt, good work on the ground. She's one of the taller players on the ground. Tall timber there, that ruck we've been touting all day for Seattle, doing the work on the floor as well.
So around about 50, 55 meters out from the Seattle attacking goal. Good smother and pressure there from Amelia Carr of the Grizzlies. Into the center of the ground. Nobody there. Lacey Evans puts the pressure on. The Freeze come away with the kick. Around about 90 seconds to go in this one, and Minnesota will go on to the grand final later today. Feel pretty comfortable calling that about now as the siren goes off on the field behind us.
Siren goes off. Update here. Couple of lead changes in the end. The Denver women sneak out a win. They clawed back those 10 points they were down, and then some 2 straight kicks to end the game there. So they win 3-119 to 2-5-17. So Denver ends up at 1-2. Golden Gate 1-2. Percentage is now going to matter in this game. Seattle's got to claw back quite a few points, and then it's up to the mathematicians.
So can Seattle go forward here? They have about a minute to do so to salvage their grand final chances. Amanda Dvorak says no, though.
Pat and I have had to have our heads on a swivel, eyes in the back of our head, all of it, trying to keep an eye on games going all around us because they all have an impact.
So Dvorak will chew up as much time as she can, handballs it off, and kicks it towards goal. That one had a lot of journey as they fall towards it, able to kick it in pressure, and another goal for the Freeze.
Lewis there with that big kick. She didn't quite make the distance, but the Freeze intent on keeping that ball in, and they did. Brought the ball to ground, and then a quick spin kick there right in front of goal, and I think that's going to ice it here. I don't think the Grizzlies are going to have enough points, so disappointment probably next door. Golden Gate, to some degree, controlled their own destiny because they had advantage in percentage at the time. But their result, I think, ultimately is not going to matter. I think Golden Gate will go through and meet the Freeze in the final. Yes, they will.
So Minnesota Freeze are on their way to a grand final later today. Final score here from Field 2. It is 6-4. Got to do the math really quick. 6-4-40. Thank you, sir. 2 straight 12 for the Seattle Grizzlies.
Impressive effort. The Freeze, one of the big link-ups again, 14-30. That was Paige Thel to Eliason. That was critical for them. When the Grizzlies were able to bypass Thel a bit, they had a little more success in the forward line. Brancati was key for the Grizzlies, as well as Katya Hewitt in the ruck. But in the end, the Freeze a bit too strong. They put those 3 goals up early and really never looked back.
So congratulations to Minnesota. Final thoughts?
Well, we'll leave it to the mathematicians now. We'll go sort out the percentages now that the final scores are in. We know one thing for certain: Minnesota is through. Minnesota has made the Women's Division I Grand Final, 3 p.m. Central. We got to do the math on the other 3 teams who all finish 1 and 2 in this division. So a 3-way tiebreaker amongst the Golden Gate, Seattle, and Denver women's sides. We'll have to do the math on that, goals for, goals against, decide how that's going to result and shake out to see our second place finisher in this pool to know who else goes into the grand final this afternoon, Pat.
And we will have that information for you on subsequent broadcasts. You can also go to usafl.com/match center as that will be updated throughout the day. So that'll do us here for Field 2 in this game between the Freeze and the Grizzlies. The Freeze win with 40 points. Coming up next on this field will be the Texas of Canada against the Texas of Texas. It's the Austin Crows against the Calgary Kookaburras. Coming up in just a few moments, this is the 2024 USAFL Nationals. Yeah.